Alright, so in this one, we are going to be doing my top 10 / top 15 list, actually. Technically here, a few times I'll actually do a top 15 list, because I do think there's 15 meta-relevant units that can make this list. But my top 10 list, kind of with a couple units. Ultra Broly, for one, he's the main part of this thumbnail, right? As well as Goku Piccolo and Garlic Jr. I won't say all three are on this top 10 list, but all three are mentioned in this video. You can see them all on this list here in these top 15. I think all of them do make a category that is listed here. So let's just get into it, with it being the lower end, just kind of 11 through 15 boat here. Now, 11 through 15, I actually do have it being a bit of an interesting sequence. So I would have it just, let's just put it out the order, I guess. So let's go Evil Boo there. Put Super 17 there. We'll put Mr. Baby right here. Yeah, I know. Mr. Baby is right there. And then we do also have Garlic Jr. And we have Rage Shenron. Where is Rage? Bro dipped? Hello? Rage Shenron? Oh, bro dipped. He just left my list completely. Hello? Rage? Oh, there you are. Okay, that makes more sense why this guy should be here then. UGF is not top 15. I just couldn't find Rage. But top 15. All right, so let's touch on these characters in the bottom here. Obviously, they're not as important as the higher tiers, but they are on this list, so why not talk about them? So, Rage Shenron, I think, is number 11, the highest that is not top 10, because of what he can offer for a best team that he can be on, right? With it being, let's say you want to run GT, okay, Omega, Rage, UG4. All right, so that's one team. Pretty good team, pretty solid team, safety, good stuff. You don't have Baby, or you want to run a range-based setup, and it works for Omega a lot better than UG4, which UG4 doesn't even need help in the beginning. Great stuff. You want some gimmicks, pop off over there. Or you have a secondary team with it being, what would it be? Ulton, Kid Buu, and Rage Shenron. Now that team is very good sustain. You have Rage doing a team heal. You have, Kid Buu getting his green cards. You have Rage making a green card as well. You have, obviously, gimmicks and Paralyze. And I think what he offers is good to what it is wanting to be, with it being he is support type while being a decent bulk unit. Obviously he's not Garlic Jr. bulk, but we'll get into Garlic Jr. soon. He's a decent bulk unit. He has good sustainability. He has good, kind of good tanking. It's decent enough, for me, at least on featured boost here. And more so than that, again, his gimmicks can 180 a match. I've said this a lot. He was top 10 for me just because he could 180 a match. If you get a gimmick proc, then guess what? It's the enemy's combo, it's their turn, you're getting screwed over. It's just how the game works. I know it's not good, but that's just how the game works. If he gets his Paralyzed, and I've had it happen to me, I almost lost the match fully, because Rage Shenron got his Paralyzed proc. There's nothing I can do about it. Most teams are strike-based anyways. You're going to struggle with that from time to time, and it will lose you matches from time to time. So, Rage number 11 there. Garlic Jr., now, this is just a very simple one. Garlic Jr. is very good. As a matter of fact, if he was any other color, I stress this point very highly, any other color, Garlic Jr. is above Goku Piccolo to me. But, because he is not any other color, he is below. All he is a worse Ultra Broly. Now, obviously, he has better tanking than Ultra Broly, sure. But the sustainability, Ultra Broly is carrying through that. He has much better HP-based and offense-based equips, so his damage with sustainability is much more frugal. Garlic Jr. can be obnoxious. Sure, he will be annoying to face. I agree. Everyone top 15 is annoying to face because they are so good. Literally, everybody on this list, it can be tedious as hell, especially, the more durable guys that exist on this list. Garlic Jr., he's solid. He does his job. He does his role. His role did not need to be touched more upon. We had UGF, who is much more offense, but, he has some safety in the rush safety, right? With his mechanic. Broly, well, we have much more offense and sustainability, so he's kind of, pushing forward this role of, well, I have more to myself in the healing department than just, okay, I have safety, I have more healing, I have more damage. Broly is just a better overall unit than UGF. Then we got Garlic Jr. We don't need 3 purples on movies. We don't. You could run double purple. You can. Sure. You don't need to. There's no premise behind that. There's just better teams for Broly, which I'll get into when we get to Broly, that exists. It just doesn't make sense that you need Garlic Jr. He's just a sub-option. And usually units in this category kind of are that. Super Baby 2, have him here because I don't see the value. As a matter of fact, I see him just losing value. We have another purple in Garlic Jr., and guess what? Super Baby 2 doesn't stop Garlic Jr. We have Ulton. Super Baby 2 doesn't stop him. UG4, sometimes he can stop him, but it's not consistent. He's not going to stop him. Broly, he's not stopping him. And that's 4 different purples that exist that this yellow can't do his job against. You'll notice a trend on this list. The yellows aren't high up because they don't do much against the purples, which is what their whole premise entire life is meant to do. It's not like these yellows are neutraling too crazily, so they could deal with reds. Baby, barely neutrals. GB, barely neutrals. You'll see him lower on this list than you'd like because he barely neutrals, and they both can't handle these purples. They don't just automatically stop the purples. It's not like you look at Ulton and it's like, okay, well, Omega is his food, right? That, you know, he's gonna fucking munch that man up and beat the shit out of him very easily. You look at UG4, he can stop anybody in the game with 1 card. Okay, so everyone's his food. You look at Kid Buu, he can beat the shit out of greens, and he beats the shit out of reds. Do you see how he's actually doing his role of being a blue to beat red, or Gohan being a purple to beat a green? These yellows, right now, because how they've made these purples, do not do their job of beating purples, so they just go down. Baby, it's a good unit, don't get me wrong, it's just unnecessary. I really don't find any need to run. I literally got a higher star Baby from this banner, actually. He's like 11, 12 stars now. I see no need to run him. There's not enough warranting it. And yeah, I could run his best team, which would be Omega, Super Baby 2, and UG4. Sure, I guess you have safety there. Who's the tank? I mean, you're just relying on UG4 to stop combos 24/7, right? And let's say a UG4 does their ult against you, they catch you on a sidestep. Well, guess what? Baby's 1 shot, UG4 is 1 shot, and then boom, the team fucking clusters and fumbles, and it's all dead and gone. It just doesn't make sense to run Baby, in my opinion. He's solid, but he needs help to deal with purples, and that's a yellow. He should need help to deal with purples. That just doesn't make sense. Super 17, I'll touch on these two, very minimal, but Super 17, I understand that he still has very good annoyance, where he can, you know, fuck over Helter Store, whether it be on Garlic, or G4, or on the Fusions, or on anybody, right? On Kid Buu, for God's sake. I think Kid Buu's a meme, but, like, theoretically on Kid Buu. He does his job well. He's a burster blaster. Does he need to be run? No. Is he good enough to be run? Yes. Evil Buu, I have no real care for this guy. I respect that he's a competent unit, but I'll be real, I don't rate him as anything. I just think, okay, if there's anybody that can make this list as the last character, it would be Evil Buu. Majin Buu setup is, you know, it's okay. I don't think it's great. I think this is better. Again, if you just run Rage instead of Evil Buu, I think you're doing a lot better service to yourself if you have Rage. I've seen a lot of people re-roll for Rage and Omega. Like, that's just a thing that exists. And UG4 is that third there as well. So, I just think Rage is doing a better role than Evil Buu. Like, you have 3 roles on that regen Ulton lead team. You want Sustain? Okay, Evil Buu. Well, he's green, so it's a little bit iffy. It's a little bit hazy, because sometimes you won't get the ideal swap, and then you won't be defense neutral, then guess what? You get 1 shot, then it's like, oh, why the fuck is Evil Buu on my team? Or you have support with Ulton and Rage Shenron. Or you go a different route with the number 10 unit here being tied, actually. I find this very difficult to separate, so I just figured why not tie them, with it being Goku Piccolo and CMZ 9/10. We'll go over Goku Piccolo first, as they are the new unit, and they are lower rated. So Goku Piccolo, as I just mentioned, you would run Ulton, Kid Buu, and Goku Piccolo. You could also run a Sun Family variant, with it being Goku Piccolo, Ultra Gohan, and Ulton. So there's 2 variants. The Kid Buu variant is better for, obviously, the entire team, because Kid Buu is just better than Ultra Gohan right now. Not really a debate, that's very obvious. So, you would run that, and obviously you have color synergy, blue, red, purple. I find it very nice that Goku Piccolo can deal with the pre-tag fusions very well. Because of how fast they can tag out, they will always be able to maintain advantage if you're just comboing with them. And they won't stop your combos, because you'll draw so many cards, whether it be Piccolo's AoE green, or the tag out, you make a card after doing a card. Like, you'll always draw cards to beat the pre-fusions very quickly, which also helps as a unit to help beat Kid Buu, because Goku is reverse red, so that means he does more damage to the blues. And he's green at that point, right? On offense spectrum, he's green. So he's beating the shit out of Kid Buu very nicely. It's a bit rare to get that frequent, but if you do get that, you can just murk Kid Buu with Goku Piccolo. And I like what they can do. They're nothing crazy. They're nothing outlandish. Again, you're making this 8 through 10 slot. 8 through 10, I would say. It's a bit on the lower end of the spectrum. It really just fluctuates per every few weeks. But making it as an all-star, or rather, Mega Rising. Sorry, I keep making the fucking banner change names every year. Mega Rising unit, I think, is very valuable. I mean, both units, they're top 12. They're top 12 on this list. And if you want to lower them to where they're both barely top 15, I think that's fine. They're a mega rising unit. They are literally bait. Like, you don't need to own them. They're at the bottom for a reason. They're just good enough to be run. And if you're making top 10, I think you're good enough to be arguably even core on your rosters if possible, which I think they are core on their roster of Ultan lead region there. Good healing, which would make a good sustain. They're tanking. Same thing as kind of LFZ Bro, which we'll go over. But good healing, great damage, fantastic damage. Jesus Christ, their damage is amazing. But more so that healing, bro. 15% per tag out, and they heal per doing a striker blast. That is a lot of fucking healing. You'll get them from 200k HP to 2 million if you get a normal ass combo. Even against UG4, you'll probably get like 45% health back just by doing 3 to 4 cards. Like, you heal a lot with this unit. Now, CMZ I find in an oddity of a spot, because it's not like CMZ is bad, but I don't feel the need for him. This is actually one of the few units that is, in my opinion, a sub-option on their team. I just prefer Broly than CMZ. I think I've said this countless times. I'd much rather run LFZ Broly, because if you just do the play of UG4, okay, he gets his kill. Usually UG4 will just one-shot somebody with his ult. And guess what? Broly gets a free lock-in, because it is a lock-in at that point. There's only 2 enemies alive, and Broly will just end up killing them. If not, you just swap out. But the thing is, what Broly did is Broly upped that sub count by 10 because they couldn't swap anymore. Broly's doing that. That gives a guaranteed kill. CMZ doesn't have that. Well, he has probably better burst damage and better sustainability. It's the utility, I guess you could say, is what's carrying Broly there, which that is utility. It's literally a free lock. Like, if UI's lock is good, Broly's lock is better. And I think people will actually value UI's lock, right? I mean, he was rated very highly for a good reason and a good time. But number 8, people won't like this one, but that's okay. I think I actually had him pretty low as well last time. So number 8 though is going to be LF fusing Gogeta Blue. Yeah, sucks. I agree. Let's touch on why. Fusing Gogeta Blue, my gripe with him is the same thing as Baby. It's just fusing Gogeta Blue is just simply a better unit, which thank God he's newer. He should be better. But it's the same gripe I have with Baby. It's actually more gripes that I have with using Gogeta Blue because he's a little bit of in the pre. But it's the same problem. They are not killing the purples. Yellows are meant to kill purples. You know, you have purples killing greens. You have blues killing reds. You have purples killing greens, like I just said. What was I going to say? Reds killing yellows. There you go. Like Super 17 could destroy Raid Shenron. Could destroy GB. Could destroy Baby. Yellows are not killing purples as easily as every other color in the game. So guess what? Their value isn't as good as it could be. GB himself, I rate highly. I would say if the unit was amazing, an ambulance, again, I fucking love it. If GB was the solo unit and we started as GB and we just had that frame 1, I don't know, I rate him like 6, 5 maybe 6, probably 6, right? But because we had the pre-tags, I've mentioned this. It's the same thing with SV. The thing with SV, it's actually a bit easier because, well, how do you get SV's, situation to transform? You just get Dragon Balls. Okay, maybe you gotta tag out once or twice. All right, take some combos, sure. GB, you have to have the unit being used. And I've said this countless times. Why would I use GB in a setting of PvP if it's all type neutral and they can't even do extra damage to these purples when I could just have UG4 on the same team doing better damage? Pre-GB is not out-damaging UG4, right? That's not a thing. Maybe post-GB is, but pre isn't. And that's the gripe I have with the pre. There's never a sequence you need to use the pre. There's sequences you need to use fused Gogeta Blue. Sure, but there's never ones you need to use the pre. SV has a similar gripe. That's why he's actually moved a little bit for me on this list. Barely, but he has moved a little bit. But again, he substantiates that by Dead Ally instant fuse. Get Dragon Balls, fuse a lot faster. GB does not have that luxury. He does not have any luxury for his fusion. You must use him, and you must screw yourself in some situations via using him because he is just a worse unit than the others on his team in that pre-state. Again, SV has the same issue, but SV gets his fusion easier, so it's a less of an issue for him. GB, number 8, also more so than that. I mean, it's probably more important to point this out. His teams, where do I need him? I'll be honest, where do I need him? Anywhere? Where is he that guy I need on my team? I don't see it. I don't ever think I need to run him. Anytime I'm trying to build a team, whether it be a best team, a mediocre, or a showcase, I'm never thinking, I need GB as my crutch, I need GB to save me, I need GB to fulfill this role. He doesn't do that. I mean, there's just better units to do that. That's just it. That's just how it is. Especially when you're facing a lot of purples, you would hope he would fulfill that role better. He does not, in my opinion. Number 7, though, is LF Dragon Ball Z Bro. He actually has gone down for me here. More because, someone else that's going to be up here. But he has gone down for me here. I still think he does his role well. I just think the units above him are simply doing their roles a lot better. Again, I still think his best team would be UG4 Omega and himself, despite Omega actually holding 2 blasts. I think that team fulfills exactly what he wants, and it gets exactly what his job is meant to be done, fulfilled consistently. It happens very often. His role of that pseudo lock, boom, they're going to die. Amazing. I've struggled against LFZ Broly's while playing because of situations just like that, because I run into that team a decent amount. And he does his role there. There's not much to him. We already touched on him last time because he was the last newest unit I went over on this tier list. So if you want to hear more details on him, go to that video. Enjoy it. But what I like is that he still does his role. It's just units above him that do theirs, again, a bit better. And number 6, the guy in the thumbnail, Mr. Ultra DBZ Broly. Now, initially, I did have it where LF's DBZ Broly was better. But after the usage of the Ultra, I think it's very clear-cut to me. There is a gap between 6 and 7. Honestly, I could put a gap here and it would be accurate. There's a gap between 6 and 7. Everything kind of 6 and up is a different tier of goodness in a whole PvP setting. LFZ Broly takes a little bit of time to get to that ideal setting, right? GB takes a little bit of time. I would say the units below are just kind of substitutes or, not having the most utility in the entire game. So everything below Ultra Broly is just having more quirks and issues. Ultra Broly has never had a quirk and issue in his life. This plat, it didn't look that great on paper. I mean, you read it, you were like, sure, it exists, but like Kaioken got so much more, right? Omega got so much more. Correct, they did. I guess Ultra, we didn't know this. No one really thought this. They were all like, this shit mid. I was agreeing with them. I thought that shit was mid. Clearly we were wrong. A lot of people are rating Ultra Broly in a high threshold because of what he can do with his gauges. Okay, now you're showing an extra card. You're also getting damage. You have 2 gauges popped. You're at, 50% extra damage. He has 60% damage, I believe, on the initial plat itself. So that is 110% more damage. He's also on featured boost on top of all that. So he's at 130% extra fucking damage via this plat equip and his featured boost. And 130% extra damage, yeah, you could figure that's a lot of damage. I think he's actually touching 300% damage at his peak, if I'm not mistaken. Especially his blue card, I think it does like 50% more. 3 enemies alive, which is also very nice. The main thing I'll point out is not even his sustainability, which is amazing. I already mentioned it. It is that his green card. That green card is broken. Just straight up, it's broken. Especially if you cover changed and then got the green card. Because then if you cover change in, Broly is overall neutral, 15 counts every singular cover change. You do a green card, guess what? You do an ultimate, you're neutral, you're murdering. You're murdering somebody. It's just how it is. You will murder a UG4 from full health with Ultra Broly, green card, gauge pop because of the green card, and do an ultimate. You will. You'll do a blue card with Ultra Broly. That same setting, guess what? You're doing 90% of their health. That situation is basically perfect. It's ideal. It's easy. It's not hard to do at all. Like, Ultra Broly, with that situation, with his sustainability, with his high health pool, also, his fucking pseudo-plat exists, so not even 130% damage, he's actually at 150% damage with everything calculated. Bare minimum 150%, just to point out. With gauges, with everything, he's getting 150% damage just by existence of usage. You use him by popping his gauges. Whoa, sounds hard to get hit. It's fucking easy. If you're losing, you're gaining with him. Like, sounds like Broly, right? He doesn't ever really lose, he just gains and gets stronger, which, thank God they made this Broly like that. But, number 6 for me, above the LF1, unfortunately for him. He has a new release, we'd like to see him higher, but number 7 is not bad, at least he's top 10. And I'll say this, number 5 and number 6, I was having a hard debate with. Honestly, I'm surprised I came to this conclusion, but if you tied number 5 and number 6, I would not argue with you. Shit, if you had Broly above number 5, I wouldn't debate you with you either. Like, I really can't see it. with it being at number 5 of the dragon himself, Omega Shenron. Yes, I think his value has, it hasn't peaked, no way, but it has gone up much more every single time I try to run him as a safety, again, alongside UG4, Broly himself. What did I run? I think I ran Ultra Broly, right? Omega, and in some other third, I think it was CMZ, and guess what? Omega Shenron was like the glue for the team. Right? You don't have any safety there. Guess what? He's the safety. Again, it does suck. He does hold 2 blasts, and most teams you're running into him. He is on a strike-based team alongside UG4, alongside LFZ Broly, Ultra Broly, SV. It sucks for him in his individual basis, but he is just what we have of the new variant of Pycon Gogeta. He is that safety. He is that protection. It's just a modernized version from Revival, which isn't the most ideal thing because UG4, because SV exists, to Indestructible. So he does his role well. There's not much else to say about him. His role is fulfilled. He does it perfect. His color, if he were any other color, honestly, he could be number 4. I don't think he'd be higher than that, but he could be number 4. But his color does not help him. I will say that much as well. But again, he can neutral pretty consistently, so it's a tit for tat type of thing. It's usually not hurting him, but there are situations it will get him murdered, and that's unfortunate for him. Number 4, though, will be LF Kid Boo. Yeah, I think it's very, very obvious. Legends really wants this guy to thrive. I mean, they just gave him another buff with Goku Piccolo. I mean, for God's sake, Garlic Jr. can run with Kid Boo. You can run Kid Boo, Garlic Jr., and Omega Shenron. Like, what's your issue there? There's literally no issue. You're thriving to run that setup, matter of fact. And it's a Zenkai they want to thrive. They didn't give him too much on his kit. I'll be honest. They couldn't give him a Cup Pen. They could have given him more, green car vanish backs. They could have given him extra damage. They could have given him better debuffs. They could have given Kid Boo a lot more. They gave this dude so little, and despite how little they gave him, motherfucker is top 5 for a lot of people. Like, Kid Boo is a demon. It does help that he's paired with Ulton, which I guess, good timing release. Was it on purpose? Was it not? Who knows? But Ulton does help him quite a bit. Not saying he carries his entire career. Let's say Ulton was a different color of, I don't know, yellow, for example. Would Kid Boo be much lower? I mean, maybe he would be below Ultra Broly. Maybe. He wouldn't be below the LFZ Broly. No way. Kid Boo still would have a fine career as a character. Again, you could literally just run Garlic, Omega, Kid Boo, Rage, Garlic, Kid Boo, Omega, Rage, Kid Boo. Like, that team is really fucking annoying, actually, to face. Super 17, Kid Boo, Evil Boo. Like, you would have a lot of teams to run, right? But Kid Boo, super strong. There's not much else to him. He's just super fucking strong, which is funny because his damage inflicted peak is one of the lowest. I think it's actually the lowest on this list. He doesn't get such a high damage inflicted. It's that he debuffs while doing so many cards, while having damage inflicted stackable, but his overall just like start off damage inflicted, it's not anything crazy. It's literally like, I think it's the second to actual lowest damage inflicted that exists on this list. But it's because he could just go so well and infinitely and just not give a fuck with infinite card draw speed, infinite greens, infinite healing, infinite everything. Like, you'll do Kid Boo's 2 blasts, do more damage than his ult. Like, that's how you know a unit's fucking broken, when their blast doing more than their ult. Again, he has no Cup Pen on ult, but that's an example of, that's how good he is. His overall cards hit so hard, they outdamage an ultimate. Like, that's really fucking strong. So he's number 4 there, Kid Boo. A lot of variety for his teams. I mean, literally, he has like 5 different variants of like regen you could build, and then you could also just do Majin Buu Saga outright. Like, he has a very good sequence of life. It would be hard to get Kid Buu to be knocked down because Ulton has such good aging within his own merit. So it's just, he's just, as long as Ulton's up, Kid Boo's up. The Kid Buu can't go down with Ulton being up unless someone drops that's somehow better than Kid Buu, and that's really hard to do. Like, the exact color, exact same premise, it's really hard to do that. Like, you would drop the other character before you'd ever drop Kid Buu or Ulton. That third, whether it be Rage, Garlic Jr., Goku Piccolo, Evil Boo, you would drop them before you drop the other 2. That's how good they are as a duo and, well, just individually, right? Number 3, though, I actually have changed this here. Top 3 has moved just a teeny bit, with it actually being not Ulton. Usually it is Ulton. It is Fusion Super Vegito. Again, I have mentioned my gripe with pre-GB that you don't really fucking want to use them. You're just doing better damage with UG4, so why not just use UG4, right? They're running together, so use UG4. More damage is coming out. Same gripe exists for pre-SV, which is maybe one issue why they've gone down, but it is more so that I run into Omega so much. Like, so much. And not just Omega Shenron existing. It's not just that. It is also Goku Piccolo. Now, I know they're not the greatest character. They're only top 10. They're barely top 10. They're only number 10. But they do have cancel buff effect. They run with Ulton. They run with Kid Buu. Well, guess what? Fusion Super Vegito cannot rush. I've had matches where they can't rush me. I've had matches where I 2-card Fusion Super Vegito with goddamn Goku. Actually, you know, it was 1 strike and 2 blast. And it was like a high star Fusion Super Vegito. And he was defense neutral. But the Goku side just 3-card him. And it's just like, that exists. I'm just here to point that out. That you do have another unit that does help beat up Fusion Super Vegito. So, with Omega Shenron being so consistent, with another rush safety unit kind of existing on a pretty good unit team there, it's just a little bit tough to get his ideal setting. It's not really difficult, you know, as much as it should be, because it's like 5% difficult. Well, it used to be like 3% difficult. See what I mean? Like, it barely affects him, but it does affect him to an extent. To where I feel he is not number 2 in the game right now. I feel he does have to dwindle a little bit. Again, the pre-states really do irk me with these 2 units, because I never will feel a sequence to use the pre. Maybe Vegito a little bit more, because he can neutral, and he can actually help deal with greens, and Omega Shenron, I think, is very consistent in usage of PvP. I see him much more than I see Gogeta Blue, CMZ, Goku Piccolo, Kid Buu, maybe equal. I see him a lot, Omega Shenron, bro. Like 20-30% of my matches, Omega Shenron's in there, and it's like, at least they can neutral, but it is still hurting them. And obviously, Omega Shenron deters their rush as well. But number 2 will be, obviously, Ulton, and number 1 will be UG4. Again, Ulton has to go up if Vegito is going down, because they were always in that tit-for-tat trade-off of, well, who's going to be the better in this sequence? And right now, I think Ulton does. With him getting addition to his roster, there's infinite teams with Ulton as well. You run Ulton, Kid Buu, Omega. You run Ulton, Kid Buu, Goku Piccolo. You run Ulton, Kid Buu. Actually, you can run Ulton, Vegito, G4, right? You run Ulton, Kid Buu, Evil Buu, Ulton, Kid Buu, Rage, Ulton, Kid Buu, Super 17. Like, you have infinite teams with this dude. Vegito, he has maybe 1 or 2, and I've seen Omega, SV, G4. I've seen Pearl Blue, like I just mentioned, the top 3 units here. And that's probably it. I haven't seen much else with Vegito. Ulton, I've seen all those variants I just named. I've run into Super 17 and Evil Buu, like, half decent amount last season, and this season a little bit because I'm higher ranked, but decent amount. Like, he's got infinite teams. His value is just higher. Like, they're good individually to an extent. You have to value the teams more at this point. And team-wise, Ulton's is better. And honestly, individually, Ulton is kind of just sliding in because how, you know, the rush safety exists in this game. There is quite a bit of it in the current meta, so it's just hurting Vegito to a higher degree than it would hurt Ulton, right? Because he doesn't need to rely on rush. Vegito is much more reliant on rush than Ulton ever would be. And then UG4, number 1. Do I have to touch on UG4? You know the reason. It's UG4. I mean, literally, there is nothing I have to explain. It's UG4. He's God. He does his all. He one-shots. I will say he doesn't one-shot Garlic Jr. I've seen this. I actually have seen him not even one-shot Dragon Fist, like raw ultimates, which is kind of funny to point out. But he usually one-shots units if you just do his ultimate within, you know, 1 strike, pop main, ult. Don't do combos. Just do the fucking ult. Don't waste that shit. You do that correctly, which is very 1, 2, 3 steps. You can figure that out, right? If you can do that, UG4 does his job. And that's what we like to see, unit doing their job. While he is a piece of shit character to fight, because those infinite gauges, his job is done. He wants the one-shot. He wants to do good damage on normal cards. He does it. He has great sustainability. Yada, yada, yada. We know everything about UG4 that we need to know. And we all pray for his downfall. I think we're all in that same boat. But nonetheless, top 15 here will be UG4 at number 1, Ulton number 2, Fuse Super Vegito number 3, LF Kid Buu number 4, Omega Shenron number 5, Ultra Broly number 6, LF DBZ Broly number 7, Fuse Gogeta Blue number 8, Corrupted Merz Masu number 9, Goku Piccolo number 10, 1% unit, and then 11 through 15 will be, this is ordered by the way, 11 through 15, Rage Shenron at number 11, Garlic Jr. number 12, Baby number 13, Super 17 number 14, and Evil Buu at number 15. Let me guys think of my top 10/top 15 list. Again, 15 is whatever. It's just to point out that these units are good enough to run. If you don't have some top 10 units, And if you're looking for a color replacement, just sub in one of the other units at the bottom of the list. Like, that's how that works, right? Let me know what you guys think of my list, though. I'll see you guys in the next one. I am curious to see how the Ultra, which we are probably getting in 2 weeks, shapes this up, because you know how Ultras usually do their job. They usually make everything just whoosh, everything just kind of dead, and just murders, you know, from the beginning to where we were at the beginning of the campaign to where we are now, once the Ultra drops. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one.